So I've been in the Steins Gate loop for a few episodes to count, and I just need to take a breath and process everything that I've seen so far because, wow, I'm doing the whip and nay from all the information overload. Among the very few that I've watched in my life, Steins Gate is very good at keeping you on your toes, anticipating what's to come and being stunned from what you've seen because either your theory was right or very much in the wrong. The first dozen of episodes is a test of will, if you may call it that. It emphasizes heavily in getting to know the characters, their environment, their motives, and to many, it's hard to literally follow along. I can concur, I was one of them, and there are many talking about how slow the beginning of Steins Gate is. However, while the beginning isn't very stimulating, getting to know everyone in the circle is all the more worthwhile and crucial for the plot onward. In the 15 years of its existence, Steins Gate has popularized the sci-fi genre with its unique concept of time traveling and the following themes that include the butterfly effect, time paradox, the nature of free will, and the consequences of scientific usage. The best part about the anime by far is the fact that you can time travel using a microwave. Casting the anime synopsis aside, the topic for today's discussion is actually directed towards Okabe Rintaro, the series protagonist. Rintaro first comes off as a melodramatic and eccentric character, being depicted as a chinubyu in the series and ultimately being the source of entertainment for the first half of Steins Gate. Rintaro is the type of person to turn every conversation into a riddle to make you second guess his answer while you decide whether or not you would be better off jumping out a window. Annoying or funny, Rintaro's iconic Houhuin Kyoma sinister mad scientist laugh is definitely on par with Mayushi's. Under his stupid persona, Rintaro can actually be a caring person. I always adore his interactions with Mayuri, always making her smile and ensuring that she's safe. As one of my newly favorite main characters of all time, Rintaro is unbelievably a breath of fresh air among the male MC landscape and only becomes more likable as the show goes on. His persona is an extreme way of self-expression as Rintaro is actually socially awkward. Whenever Mayuri or the others want an emotional response out of him, he flukes and relies on the great Houhuin Kyoma to give the best response. Truly flamboyant. If you're not a fan of delusional over-eccentric Rintaro, don't worry. There's young Rintaro, black suit Rintaro, and old Rintaro. When trying to understand the humbling experience of Okabe Rintaro, we first need to define what it means to be humble. The Google Def describes being made to feel less proud or important, often through awe, admiration, or by recognizing one's own limitation or the greatness of others. As for Okabe Rintaro, it's actually through a more simple introduction, that being Metaphysics Necrosis episode 13. In the beginning of the episode, everyone is gathered in the lab to celebrate the completion of the time leap machine. Rintaro, the only one capable of the reading Steiner, allows him to travel between alternate worlds known as Worldline. Through their success, he is able to travel up to 48 hours into the past, which becomes an essential device in a bit. An armed group swarms in surrounding Rintaro's group and forcing them into a corner. The leader of the group goes by the name of Kiryu Moeka, who is formally acquainted with them all, and the reveal of her status is shocking. But not shocking enough. He demands not only Rintaro but Kurisu and Daru to oblige and follow them, leaving Mayuri alone. Until... The pivotal turning point, the unexpected turn of events, is when the show becomes a roller coaster. After Mayuri dies, Rintaro rushes to the phone microwave. Kurisu follows only after to be shot. The horror in Rintaro's eyes, trying to fathom what he just witnessed. When I saw this scene, I was jumping up and down like a kangaroo on wit's end. The show suddenly became intriguing. The build-up was phenomenal and it felt as if everything's setting in motion for a bigger picture. Finally see conflict, concern, an antagonist that poses as an obstacle to Rintaro was exciting. The gradual shift from Rintaro's usual cheery buffoonery to hopelessness is a result of a ruthless impending fate. Not even the mad scientist deserves an outcome of this. An example of Rintaro's development is his reluctance to rely on others. He deems himself as a scientist, so it's not uncommon to conduct research in a solitary setting. Rintaro has a strong importance to be independent. Despite the conversations he has with Daru and Kurisu, he didn't really seek out any external help during the amount of time leaping he did while desperately trying to save Mayuri. In the eyes of Hoven Kyoma, prior to the creation of the phone microwave, he wouldn't dare to crumble to his knees, and even beg for guidance, would he? I wouldn't think so. Rintaro seeks out Kurisu for guidance. He believes that she would be the only one to understand his situation without much question. The show presents two world lines, the Alpha and the Beta. Kurisu suggests that Rintaro moves the Alpha attractor to the field of a Beta world line. Throughout the show, Rintaro's initial goal was to get his hands on the IBN 5100. However, after the events that unfolded halfway through Steins Gate, it serves as a greater importance. The IBN was needed for Rintaro to delete the first email that was sent to CERN, in which they stored the information in their global monitoring system. The email in this storyline, due to the existence of CERN, is responsible for Mayuri's death and the forthcoming of the time machine to be apprehended. The death of Kurisu in Alpha and Mayuri's in Beta are significant factors to how the events unfold. And through this information, we can piece together that you cannot save both lives. Rintaro coming to this realization feels entirely hopeless and lost. Torn between two very difficult choices, Kurisu states that he should prioritize Mayuri's life over hers. To choose between the two is devastating. On one hand, you can allow your childhood friend her unconditional, unwavering support and a deep understanding of you, a beacon of light too, or a like-minded individual who you can discuss anything with, someone who you immediately click with and can understand the situation you're in. Regardless of their description, Rintaro's hesitancy was immensely felt by the audience. After enduring the first 12 episodes of Steins Gate, Rintaro isn't the only one attached to these two individuals. Later on, Kurisu offers to go with Mayuri to Komima instead, potentially preventing her death just one more time. I, on the other hand, was having a blast. It sparks the curiosity of what will he really choose? How will he overcome it? Okabe Rintaro, indefinitely one of, if not the smartest dudes in the show, will find a way. They always do, right? Yeah, nah, so Okabe actually takes up on Kurisu's offer, and now she's the one that dies instead of Mayuri. After he travels back to prevent all the emails from being sent, Steins Gate 0 is a world set up in the Beta world line. This version of Rintaro stops trying to save Kurisu. The phone microwave has been given away and he's given up on being a scientist, or rather the mad scientist. He's essentially trying to move on and protect Mayuri. Examples that show whenever Ferris brings up his persona, he cringes and asks her to just address him normally. There's also a distinctive difference in his appearance that contrasts his previous outfit. Running all black, symbolizing depression, hopelessness, and inability to move forward. Okabe doesn't look back and chooses to remain out of trouble for the sake of Makise Kurisu, and the guilt of not being able to bring her back. The humbling experience of Okabe Rintaro isn't to laugh and poke at him for being an idiot. I mean, he is a smart idiot, but to reflect on the weight of his decisions. If I were to be put in his shoes, I wouldn't last as long as he did. His driving force to keep Mayuri alive is what helped him stay on his toes for as long as he could, with Kurisu helping him redefine his purpose. Hope. The theme of hope that was overshadowed by a darker, immature theme in Zero was rekindled. In the end of episode 7, Amethyst triggers Okabe's raiding Steiner, sending him to the Alpha world line, and the world line where Kurisu is alive. The events in this timeline are the aftermath of Mayuri's death. Similarly, this version of Rintaro has also stopped showing up to the lab. Later, Rintaro begins tweaking out, wondering why raiding Steiner kicked in, and once again spiraling into his void of hopelessness, until Daru sees him. What struck me about this segment of this episode was Daru snapping at Rintaro. Afterwards, Kurisu is prompted to meet up with Rintaro and they walk towards the cemetery. Rintaro dumps basically everything that has happened to him about undoing the past, emphasizing that nothing will change no matter how hard he tries. That he in turn sacrifices Kurisu's life in exchange for Mayuri to live. What I really liked about Okabe's expression here is how he doesn't have the need to hide anything anymore. The face of a man who has been in deep shit, deep stress, experiencing an otherworldly crisis that is unexplainable to an ordinary person. Kurisu, watching Okabe struggle, falls into sadness. But the great Hoen Kyoma she once knew ceases to exist. After this episode, Okabe Rintaro seeks for a better world line. A world where both Mayuri and Kurisu exists. A world without CERN, the race towards the construction of the time machine, in an era of peace. Without sounding brain-rotted, Okabe Rintaro's newfound goal is to reach the Sigma world line, slowly but surely returning to his original state.
それがこの俺の選択だ。